Hello and welcome to the Success Grid podcast with your host Hussein Talib. I am excited to introduce you to a series of conversations with some of the most successful and inspiring individuals from various industries. My aim is to dive into the stories behind their success and explore the knowledge, strategies, habits, mindsets, and wisdom that have propelled their success. Each episode of the Success Grid podcast will feature a different guest who will share their unique journey, the challenges they faced, and the lessons they have learned along the way. I will also be covering topics from entrepreneurship and innovation to leadership and personal development. Whether you are an inspiring entrepreneur, a seasoned business professional, or just someone looking to improve your life, the Success Grid podcast is for you. My goal is to bring you valuable insights and inspiration that will help you achieve your own success in business and life. So get ready to learn and be inspired. The Success Grid podcast starts now. In this episode, I have with me Scott Mautz to talk about mental strength and how it is a leadership superpower of our time. Scott is the author of The Mentally Strong Leader. He is the founder and CEO of Profound Performance, a keynote training and coaching company. Scott is a former Procter Gamble executive who successfully ran four of the company's largest multi-billion-dollar business and has been named a CEO thought leader and a top 50 leadership innovator by Inc. magazine. So, Scott, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here and eager to talk about a topic I'm very passionate about.
Oh, that's very apparent. So, but first of all, because this is the Success Grid podcast, and I think and I do believe being mentally strong is one of the things that make people successful. But first, what does success means to you, and how do you see other people you work with have certain misconceptions around what success is to them?
Yes, I think, to me, setting aside mental strength for a second, I really do believe that success, first and foremost, is following through and achieving what matters most to you, not what matters to other people. You know, I've certainly seen it over my years, Hussein, you probably have as well, that we can get pulled off of forgetting what really matters to us. And success becomes someone else's definition for us, not our own. So first and foremost, success is achieving what you want to achieve in your life that is important uniquely to you, not to somebody else.
So that brings me back to our main topic, which is basically being mentally strong. And it is like, it's not just about leadership, because everyone should lead themselves, because leadership, I think, comes within. So everyone have to be a leader for themselves first, because if we are not a leaders for ourselves, how we are going to lead a company, or how we are going to lead our life, right? That's very important. So how would you define throughout the years of your book, how would you define the basic of mental strength to the average Joe, let's say?
I think first and foremost that mental strength is the ability to regulate your emotions, your thoughts, and your behaviors productively, even in adversity, as I like to shorthand it. It's how you manage internally so that you can lead better externally. And I think most of us, Hussein, I think we understand that to succeed at work and in life, you have to be able to regulate your emotions, your thoughts, and your behaviors. But the problem is, it's really hard to do that. Really, really, really hard to do that. But when you can, become mentally strong, it really unlocks the ability to achieve more. It's how you train your brain for achievement. So that's what mental strength is, just so we're working from the same page, right? Does that make sense?
So because of that, like, do you think it's being a mentally strong person, does that, let's say, a monopoly for business leaders in your opinion, or like as I mentioned, it's like for all the people, we all should have some kind of a mental strength to a point where we are in control of ourselves and we are in control of multiple things, like we are going to be talking about decisions and multiple things.
Yes, it is for sure, Hussein. It is just as much to do and applicably in life as it is at work. And you know what I'm worried? The book is called The Mentally Strong Leader. And yes, of course, leader is in that title. But when I say leader, what I really mean, it also involves self-leadership. You have to lead yourself in and out of your job. You have to lead yourself in your faith. You have to lead yourself in your community. You have to lead yourself with your family, to show up with your friends, in your social network, to show up the way that you want to productively. So it's just as applicable, if not more so perhaps, in personal life as it is in leadership, as it is at work as well.
On your studies,
have you, let's say, discovered or seen or have some kind of a framework for being mentally strong, or some kind of, let's say, maybe steps involved in being mentally strong in that?
Yes. Now, the good thing here is mental strength is based on 6 core mental muscles, Hussein. And specifically, mental strength comes from building your confidence muscle, boldness, fortitude, decision making, goal focus, ability to stay focused on your goals, and the messaging muscle, which is your ability to stay positive minded and engaged in your discussions with others and in the net impression that you leave on them. So there are 6 core mental muscles. And to help readers and listeners of the Mentally Strong Leader, to give them a structure, what I did in the book was I created a mental strength self-assessment. 50 questions that you can take to discern how mentally strong are you overall, and then how strong are you by each mental muscle that I described? How strong is your confidence, boldness, fortitude, and so on? Then what you can do is you can understand, okay, I have to build, let's say it's, confidence and fortitude. Those are the 2 muscles I need to build to become mentally stronger. You could start from there to build a tailored, customized mental strength training program and apply the habits and the tools in the book for those muscles that will help you become mentally stronger. That's a framework that the book, The Mentally Strong Leader, offers you.
Cool. So you mentioned someone could choose, maybe the way I see it, certain things, but in your opinion, do you think there are, let's say, someone is looking at this and want to study this and want to read, for example, your book, what you're talking about here, these 6 elements, but like they are 0 at every level. Do you think that there are certain elements that are more important than others in these 6 elements, in your opinion?
Really good question. Most people assume, Hussein, that mental strength starts with fortitude. Yeah, that's the first thing you think of. Oh, mental strength, that's being mentally tough, that's being resilient. That's only a part of it. It's a lot more than that. So in truth, what we find is, first of all, the opposite of mentally strong is not mentally weak. No one scores a 0 on every muscle. We all have a baseline of mental strength that we can build from. When you take the mental strength of self-assessment that's in the book, The Mentally Strong Leader, you can determine where you need to work. But all the muscles are equally important. If you want to be balanced, if you want to truly train your brain for achievement, because mental strength is strongly correlated with the ability to achieve at work and in life, you have to be balanced and have strong muscles across all 6 of those. And if you think of, if you went to the gym, Hussein, to work on only your leg muscles, that would be a little strange. You'd walk out with really, really big legs, and you couldn't say that you were fit and healthy because all you worked on was your legs. If you really want to be truly fit and muscle toned, you have to have a day where you go to the gym to work on your back, and then your arms, and then your core, then your legs. That's what it's like with mental strength training. You have to be good at all 6 mental muscles to truly become balanced and mentally strong over time.
Yeah. So mental strength or mental muscles, when we are talking about these things in your example, how much does, let's say, habits, daily habits, relate to being mentally strong or mental strength? And how far does it take a human from being a leader or not a leader?
Excellent question. And the whole thing about the book, The Mentally Strong Leader, is, I define mental strength, and I told you how we know it's hard. It's really, really hard to regulate your emotions, your thoughts, and your behaviors productively. So I have really dug into habit building science, Hussein. So to help people actually become mental stronger means you have to build the habits that allow you to become mentally stronger because it's so hard to do it. And habits are repetitions. They're the systems we put into place to help us become mentally stronger. So the book is built on habit building science, and the book contains over 50 plus habit building tools that allow you to build the habits that increase mental strength. It's why it's literally like training your brain for achievement, because those habits tie to mental strength, which tie to achievement.
So now, in the 6 elements, let's say there are multiple ones, like you mentioned, confidence, decision making, goal focus, and boldness and fortitude. So, do you think that you can expand, for example, the way I see it when I read these, for example, 6 elements, I see, for example, confidence is important, because I could relate it to being bold, because confidence breeds boldness, or boldness breeds confidence, I think. So, and also this is decision making, which is also definitely something very important for a leader in general, because you are not a leader if you are not making a decision as quickly as you can, no matter how the outcomes were, like even the outcomes were not the correct ones, let's say, right? And also relating that to goal focus or goal oriented decisions. So can you expand on these two elements?
Yes. Yeah. So I'll just talk about like so you want me to focus on decision making and goal focus for now? Is that the
Yeah.
thought? Yeah. Yeah. So you're right. A lot of the times they're kind of interrelated. Decision making is not the first thing people think of when they think of mentally strong, right? But it's a huge element. If you think of the best leaders you've ever worked for, the mentally strongest, best leaders, they were very decisive and they made high quality decisions. Not just that they decided quickly, but what they decided upon was really, really high quality decisions. And here's the thing, Hussein. You see, emotion and bias and undisciplined thinking are all enemies of good decision making. And if you're not mentally strong, emotion and bias and undisciplined thinking enter your brain. So this is where self-regulation skills play a mental strength, in other words, play a huge role in giving you the courage and the conviction to be decisive and to give you the ability to make really, really good decisions. And I'll give you a specific example. For example, one of the tools I talk about in the mentally strong leader in the decisive decision-making habit, the muscle, is what I call the ability, the bias buster template. There are tons of biases that can creep up that we're not even aware of in the back of our mind when we're trying to make a decision. In the book, The Mentally Strong Leader, I outline the 12 most common biases that can pop up that could screw up our decision making. For example, there's a bias called confirmation bias. This is where you have the tendency to search for and interpret and favor the information that confirms the beliefs you already have or support the decision you already want to make. So you know what you want to decide, so you seek out only the information that will support that decision. That's confirmation bias. Mentally strong leaders don't fall into that. And in the book, I go into all the most common biases and the ways you can avoid each one of those biases, right? Before I move on to goal focus, does that make sense, Hussein?
Yeah. So basically, what you are saying here, a leader does not wait for like a confirmation from others. He could have some kind of help from others, but ultimately he have to be the man and make this.
Yeah, they have to make decisions, and they have to be willing to look for data that might not support the decision that they think they really want to make in their gut. You can't let that seep in, or you're going to keep making the decision that you want to make. And at that point, why did you even gather data then? Why didn't you just make the decision if you're going to do that? So, yeah. Now, I also talk about, goal focus is another important mental muscle. And I talk about building goal focus habits. And, if you think about it, wayward thoughts and emotions and unfocused thoughts and actions, they distract you from your goals at hand. And the mentally strongest people are very, very focused on their goals. One of the biggest reasons why mental strength is so strongly correlated with achievement is because it has so much to do with goal focus. And it makes sense. The more you can stay focused on your goals, the more you achieve, the more mentally strong you are. It all feeds each other. One of the tools I have in the book to help with this is what I call the control check, Hussein. And it takes that old adage and says, you must focus only on what you can control if you want to be able to maintain focus on your goals and achieve. And there's a simple tool in there I call the control check. Think of a table with two columns. In one column, it's labeled setbacks. The other column, it's labeled systems. In the setbacks column, go ahead, sit down with your team if you have to. Get it out of your system. Brainstorm all the issues that are coming up that are getting in the way of you accomplishing your goal. Write down all the setbacks. Write them all down. And this is the key step. Then circle only the setbacks that you can do something about, that you can have some control over. We so often lose sight of our goals and lose focus of focusing on our goals because we start to worry about stuff we have no control over. So get it out of your system, write down what's on your mind, and then circle only the things you can control. In the other column, that's the column marked systems. This is where you write down all the systems and the balances and the work that you have in place that you can do to actually help you overcome that setback that you've decided you can indeed do something about. Setbacks, circle the ones you can control. Systems, understand the ones that will help you move forward, right? Make sense?
Yeah. So that's a very important point you mentioned there. Like focusing on the things that we cannot control, that's a waste of time, waste of energy. You are not going to achieve anything with that. Like in the setbacks column that you mentioned, this is where certain things that we put that we can control or not control, so we can eliminate the things that we cannot control at all. So this is very important, people, to realize that we do not want to put some like even 1% of our energy into things that we can't even control. That's very important.
That's exactly right. And don't miss either, Hussein. The psychology shows us the physical act of with your team or by yourself, literally writing down the things that are setbacks, literally writing that down frees your mind up. Because a lot of times we can't focus because we're worried about all the things that could go wrong or that have gone wrong. The physical act of writing them down gives you a brain dump. Then when you circle the things you can control, you will have gotten it off your chest. Everything I'm worried about is out there, and now I've chosen only what I can focus on. So that the act of writing it down is really, really important.
Yeah, and I think maybe that, I don't know if you agree, but do you think that also relate to also confidence and being bold?
Oh, sure.
If we put certain things down, and how are we going to play things in our head, in our minds, like, yes, this is related, this is not related, are we going to waste time on this, are we not going to waste time on this? So these things we need to make a decision that and be bold about, like, yeah, this is something that we are not going to, for example, waste time on because it is not out for, because it's out for our control, right?
That's right. And to your point, Hussein, there's even a term for it. It's called the progress principle, which says this. A Harvard researcher originally identified this. Here's how they all comes together. So if you stay goal focused, if you write down, okay, these are the things I can't control. I'm focusing on what I can control. Guess what happens? You start to make more progress in overcoming those setbacks. When you get progress towards your goal, guess what happens? Your confidence increases. You're willing to become bolder, to take bigger steps to accomplish that. Then guess what happens? You make more progress, and it starts to feed on itself into a virtual cycle of perpetual progress. So this all is interconnected. You're exactly right.
Yeah, definitely it should be, because we need to build the blocks to grow for our business, for ourselves, because it's very important to do that. Because if we think or we have, like, let's say, some a little bit of doubt on certain things, we should even take decision on regards to that, whether it's right or left. These doubts are going to destroy the business, the person, the leader at some point. So that's very important to be decisive, I would say, right?
Yes, it's right. It's important to be decisive. And while you mentioned doubt, it's also important to remember who's saying that confidence is not the absence of doubt. It's your ability to manage your relationship with doubt. Because even the most confident people that I've interviewed for this book, and believe me, for the Mentally Strong Leader, I have interviewed thousands, done research with thousands. Even the most confident people that I meet, they never say, yeah, well, I'm confident because I never doubt myself, ever. That's not true. They know that some self-doubt exists. They've just learned to manage their relationship with that doubt extremely effectively.
So, in your opinion, if we can, let's say, let's put it in pointers, what is the first step to get started in being a mentally strong leader? Someone asks
Yes.
you that question, what would be your answer?
Step one, take the mental strength self-assessment. And I'll give you a download at the end that people can take it for free. You can find the assessment in the book. But I'll give you a gift, where you can also just, take it for free and then get the book later. But start with a mental strength self-assessment. It's 50 questions. It takes you 15 minutes. Figure out where you stand right now to start. Where are you now mentally strong? And where do you really need to work? And the assessment has been verified and validated in a way that you might surprise yourself. You might find out like, wow, I thought I was a lot more confident than it sounds like I actually am. Or I'm a lot bolder than I thought I was. I guarantee you there will be some surprises in that assessment. That's the place to start, though, because you want to build a program that's right for you, not how to become mentally stronger based on where someone else is in their journey on mental strength. That's step one. Then obviously step two is, I can promise you, Getting the mentally strong leader is an investment that's worth it because there are tons of habits and tools to help you level up based on whatever mental muscle you need to strengthen.
So, Scott, where can people learn more about you and get in touch with you?
Yes, go to scottmautz.com, SCOTTMAUTZ. And I have that's .com, and you can learn about, keynotes, the books that I write, and all the things that I do, trainings I give, the virtual trainings that I do. And also I put together a gift today for your listeners of your podcast that will help them be more successful. If they go to scottmautz.com/mentally strong gift, they can download a 60-page free PDF that includes the mental strength self-assessment I was talking about, as well as prompts to help make the book even more productive for you, the Mentally Strong Leader, the book. So go to scottmautz.com/mentally strong gift, and you can download the 60-page PDF for free.
Awesome. And thank you very much, Scott, for providing us with such value to have mental strength and mentally strong, and using also helping with the habits, because that's very important, that we need to know certain things, our weaknesses, and develop on it. And also that it's very important because a leader should be in the place of, let's say, a strong position and not weakness. So this is very important. Yeah, thank you very much for joining me for this episode.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.